I read this book here, What's Wrong with Protestant Theology by Jon Mark Ruthven, about, I want to say 9 months ago or so. It's one of the most impacting books I've read in a number of years. Ruthven, who is an academic scholar, taught at Regent University in Virginia Beach, Virginia, but he's a very insightful author. He wrote a book in the early 90s called On the Cessation of Charismata, but he's wrote at length about the power of God and maybe how sometimes some of the Protestant and evangelical traditions have really tried to turn away from the power of God, and he's really done an exceptional job trying to clarify how those traditions are wrong and how the Bible actually is affirming an active, dynamic experience of God's power. This book here, what I love about it is he goes to great length just showing systematically what the Bible emphasizes. And what he argues is that Protestantism has a tendency to emphasize education, intellect, maybe even just salvation alone. But when you go through and look at the text, the Bible over and over again emphasizes people really personally encountering God, hearing His voice, learning how to respond in faith with words of healing or encouragement or deliverance or what have you. He shows biblically that is the pattern over and over again. I think one of the most compelling arguments is that he says that in the new covenant, this power, this voice is supposed to come alive in our hearts and minds. And he argues that Protestantism doesn't want the active, powerful voice of God to come upon our hearts and minds. It really wants to return us back to a creed, back to a rule book, back to some kind of systematic creed or declaration. And so he argues Protestantism is actually moving away from the Bible's emphasis. So, I've read this book, I've been impacted by it, and we're so excited to have him actually speak and share some of these ideas at World Revival Church for the Reformation Now Conference, August 7th through the 10th. And I really want more people to come and hear what this man is saying about what the Bible actually teaches and help us to see how we can be a people who really encounter God and to walk in His ways.